All right. So now let's talk about the double standard we live with. All right. Um, the most obvious, flagrant, recent example comes from the world of sports. There are two people named Angel Reese, and she faced off against a person named Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
What I know is that Angel Reese is a Black woman,
Mm-hmm.
and that Caitlin Clark is a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
But you could tell the story a lot better than I could. So why don't you set us up?
Angel Reese, the Bayou Barbie.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
Tournament MVP for the NCAA Women's Tournament in March Madness. Most double-doubles in the history of the NCAA tournament. First team All-American.
Go ahead.
Now national champion.
Go ahead.
However, Miss Caitlin Clark, guard, Iowa, Big Ten Player of the Year, might be National Player of the Year when it's all said and done. Incredible basketball player. Most points, I think, in the history of the tournament, or at least in the history of a single season for the NCAA. Different style of coverage, but not different style of play. Miss Caitlin Clark is not Black. Miss Angel Reese is. And that's where the double standard starts. Because Miss Caitlin Clark does not just get busy on the basketball court. She makes sure that you understand that she's getting busy on the basketball court.
Okay.
And the reason why this is a topic, most of you listening to this show, this became a national story because we're stupid. This didn't come a national story because of these two young ladies. Nothing that they did should have been newsworthy except be phenomenal basketball players, both of them. And I mean phenomenal, not, oh, she's pretty good. Or even more ignorantly, oh, she's pretty good for a girl. No. These two young ladies will probably give Ramses and I the business game after game after game. And we would just be tired and whooped. Like that's all that's all we would have to say. So if you've watched either of them play, they might be two of the best to ever play. Except every conversation from the time that game ended until today about the two of them have been about the color of their skin and the way that what they do is received by public eye. If Q and Ramses were playing basketball, or Shaq and Kobe, or Michael and LeBron, or any Magic and Bird, any of your great rivals that you think in your head, or great players that you think in your head were playing against each other and they were talking trash, Black or white, as long as they were men, they'd be celebrated for it. Caitlin got celebrated for it. ESPN did an entire segment with different players talking about how she's the clapback queen because of how effectively she trash talks when she plays. She's demonstrative. Again, it's not just that the ball keeps going in. It's that she keeps reminding you that, ironically, you can't see me. For our audience, most of you, just by hearing what I said, know what that means. But during the tournament, during the season, everything from pulling her jersey up to yelling at the crowd to dismissing opponents, waving them off to shoot wide open because she didn't respect them enough to even guard them. You're that trash. I'm going to just let you shoot. Self-check. You on our team. Go for it. I'm going to wave you off and walk away while you shoot and miss this shot. Right? It's mental manipulation on a level that I don't know that I see regularly. You know what I mean? Like, this is Division I. This is the championship rounds. This is essentially the playoffs. This is the tournament. She's walking away from the number one. This is the number one team in the country, undefeated. She's like, whatever. I'm not even going to guard you. Go for it. In another game, she told a young lady that said something to her, shut up, y'all losing by 15. And did the you can't see me to her. right?
You can't see me as waving your hand in front of your face.
Yeah. John Cena made this thing popular. Tony Yayo introduced it to him. Flavor Flav introduced it to him. I have to say that because everybody just says it's the John Cena because he's the most famous of them from being a WWE superstar and doing it in front of hundreds of millions of people on TV. It became known as something that he did. But even in interviews, he says he got it from Tony Yayo, who got it from Flavor Flav. So that specific thing, once they won, this is the thing about trash talk. This is why I don't understand why people do. I guess I do. People kind of get off on it. I don't understand why fighters do it because fighting is a whole different thing. That's different from sport. You know, you don't play fight. You know, somebody might knock you out and then you look really ridiculous if you was just trash talking the whole lead up. But
I've seen that happen too.
Yeah. So when Caitlin Clark is winning and she's doing that, she's celebrated. Like I said, they call her the clapback queen. They talk about how fiery she is, how competitive. People celebrate that in her. So when they lost, the other best player on the court,
Angel Reese,
Bayou Barbie, gave her all she can handle of her own doing.
This is the hand waving, you can't see me.
You can't see me, right back at her. But a lot. Like we just popped y'all. And last week you can't see me. Where you at now? Because that's how it goes. When you talk crazy, you better win. If you don't, you deserve to be clapped back at, quote unquote, since she's the clapback queen, crazy. So Queen Angel Reese of the national champion LSU Tigers has been called by professionals in sports media classless, an idiot, a moron, and a few of those with an effing on the front of it. She's been insulted and dragged as unsportsmanlike and disrespectful. All she did was the same thing that ESPN did a whole segment on Caitlin Clark for doing.
John Cena shouted out Caitlin Clark too on Twitter.
If you saw the coverage of the tournament, everyone did. Right? The team that they beat before they played LSU had won like 50 games in a row. Like undefeated national championship team. And all the coverage was about the super bad white girl for Iowa, not the whole team of sisters that was undefeated. Like it was flagrant. And we've gotten to this space where pointing out double standards like this and pointing out just flagrant, overt racism is somehow intellectually beneath us. So even we like take the devil's advocate position of trying to find justification for it when it's no. We don't even have to find anything. We have video of Caitlin doing the exact same thing. And then the #1 sports outlet on earth did a full segment on how great it is that she does that. And the second a black girl did it to her, she became, again, classless, unsportsmanlike, an idiot, and a moron. And like I said, an effing. So we don't have to try to dig and figure out why it's covered differently. We don't have to dig and figure out why people are responding to it differently. Because you know who wasn't offended? You know who didn't call her out of her name? Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Because Caitlin Clark get busy.
Yeah.
And in her mind, I'll see you again.
Yeah.
And we're going to get right back at it. She knows that she gives that and deserves to get it back, a la Steph Curry. I can't get mad when they shimmy, I shimmy. You know what I mean? So it's this position of her being somehow this victim when all that was done to her is what she does to everybody else.
I want to add something here. Please. I read an article from New York Post, but there was an interview with Caitlin Clark. She's the white woman in this story. Again, forgive me. I'm not a sports person and I'm awful with names. So I repeat them just in case you're like me. But Caitlin Clark did an interview. And to your point, she said, I haven't been on social media since we lost. And I'm not mad at it. She gave like an amazing interview. Like I was like pretty close to, man, she should be the Baba for this week because she spoke up for Angel Reese, saying everything that you would expect. She's like, she's an amazing competitor. That's part of the game, you know, blah, blah, blah. There was a couple of things I wish she would have said, but that does
likewise.
But that doesn't mean that she intentionally left them out.
Mm-hmm.
It probably didn't occur to her to say things a certain way or like, hey, this coverage is unfair. Maybe she doesn't have the same context or the same view. Maybe she's been absent, but I did appreciate her response, the way she bigged up Angel Reese. And she, so another part of this story that you, our listener, may or may not have heard about is that Jill Biden, the first lady.
Say her name again, because it's Jill and Joe sound the same.
Jill, Dr. I should say, Dr.
Yes.
Jill Biden,
yes,
the first lady of the United States, invited the losing team along with the winning team to the White House, right? And I guess that's never been done before. And what folks
not
are saying,
in 200 years.
Sure. And so what people
were close to, this started back in the 1800s. I'll just say that.
So what people were saying is, and you correct me or jump in because
I'm absolutely certain whatever you're about to say is going to be accurate.
Okay. So what they were saying is, well, you know what? If we had lost, if Louisiana State University had lost, Dr. Jill Biden would not have invited all the Black girls to the White House having lost. So this is what it means to be white on full display, because she's like, oh, well, both teams were really competitive and they did a really great job. Let's have them all come to the White House. And so I believe it was Angel Reese and her team. I think that there's some sort of like unity in this decision. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they said, you know what, it's okay. You can take the losing team to the White House. That's totally fine. We would go and hang out with Barack and Michelle. You know what I mean? Like that would be fine for us. You know. So the reason I brought that up is because Caitlin Clark was asked about that. Would she visit the White House if that invitation from Dr. Jill Biden was authentic, was genuine? And Caitlin Clark said, no, I would not go. That's not how it works. Angel Reese and the ladies from LSU deserve to have their moment. So this is part of why I was like, man, that feels like a Baba for us. You know what I mean? Like you got.
I don't know that that's Baba worthy.
I know that's why it's not there.
Of saying that what usually happens should happen.
But you know, some people don't do that.
No, you're right.
So that's why I was kind of thinking about it. But anyway, there's a double standard for you there. Let's move on.